has suffered quite a bit. It actually kind of looks like a falling knife.
From a meteoric rise to a hard crash, could there be any life left in these rare earth mining stocks?
Just because there's this truce doesn't mean that trade war is over. So if we don't create that supply chain here domestically now, then we won't have the chance to do it when we have to do it.
MarketBeat's Neal Johnson breaks down all of the price action in this sector and shares 3 mining stocks he's still looking at for the long term.
They're sitting on a mountain of cash. They have no debt. They've got mines. They got magnets. They're making magnets.
Jeffrey, so great to have you back on the show talking about a topic I'm really excited about because many of our viewers have been involved in rare earth stocks and have been burned so badly over the last few weeks. The question many people have is there a chance for recovery? So we're going to get into that today. You have 3 stocks to talk about too. But first, let's just talk about the market here. Why did we see such a huge explosive gain in the rare earth sector and then this huge, very quick pullback at the same time?
What it comes down to is it's a geopolitical situation. Our administration and the administration in China, they got into a little bit of a tiff. China eventually said they weren't going to sell us any metal. So overnight, our critical metals sector just went through the roof. And that's when you saw those massive gains earlier in the month. And within a few days, because of the massive uproar, right, of this, the administration backtracked a little bit and said that, and there was a cool down, right? And after that cool down period, there was a truce in part where they opened the supply of rare earth metals back up, right? Very shortly after that, China came out with what they're calling the validated end user program. Now, what that means is if you're Tesla, right, or if you're a toaster maker, you can buy neodymium praseodymium from China. Now, that's a big fancy word. Nobody knows how to say it, so we're just going to call it magnet dirt, right? You can buy magnet dirt from China if you're Tesla. But if you're a missile maker, right, or if you have any ties to the Department of Defense, you will not be able to buy that magnet dirt from China. So it's really a big deal for the Defense Department to put money into this sector, which is why since the beginning of November, I think there's been $1.4 billion worth of government investment in this sector.
You made a really good case for a potential strong future ahead for the whole metals market and why we might see these stocks see some growth long term in the future here. We're going to get into the list of the 3 stocks that you are watching in the rare earth metals market. I love it. The magnet dirt is a great way to put it. So we're going to be talking about 3 different companies that are looking for that dirt and looking for other minerals in the US and in North America. Again, like in every video we've done the last couple of weeks, I will be paying attention and asking questions about these stocks to see which one I'm going to add to Bridget's buys. It's a paper trading watch list where we are helping to follow along in some of the price movements on the stocks we talk about on this channel. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the description if you want to take a look at that public watch list now. All right, Jeffrey, I'm going to pick one of these eventually, so let's dive into the first one that you have today.
Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about today is going to be MP Materials, and they are kind of the fortress of the 3. They're the one that suffered the least. And the biggest problem that they had recently is that their earnings report dropped. And the reason it wasn't great was because just like we talked about with the Chinese magnet dirt, MP Materials has chosen to stop selling magnet dirt, stop shipping magnet dirt to China for refining. So they took a huge hit because the government is looking for a mine to magnet supply chain. So they want a company to be able to mine the dirt and turn it into the high-end magnets that they're going to be using in cars, missiles, robots, all the fun stuff that we love to play, right? When MP Materials chose to stop selling the neodymium to China, it was a huge hit, but it doesn't really change anything because they're still mining the dirt. Their data showed that they mined a record stockpile of dirt. So they're actually just sort of waiting for their refinery to come online, which should be happening soon. And once their refinery comes online, then they're not going to be selling if they're not going to be selling flour, they're going to be selling cakes. They've stopped selling the flour to China and instead decided that they're going to make the cakes and they're going to sell the cakes here.
Now that all sounds like it's gonna take some time and some money and investment to make that infrastructure and actually, give them the capability to do that here, is that right?
Yes, but it's almost done. Like, this is something that they've been working on for a while now, so it's not very far out. This is why I said originally, buy when there's blood in the street, even if that blood is your own, because every single one of these companies on my list, MP has already been backed by the government. They've already got a thing with the Saudi Arabian government. There's so much stuff going on with that company, and the stock price just keeps dropping like crazy. There are the China fears where China's overproducing and flooding the market, and then there are just people that are bailing. For instance, one of the most recent things was the CEO sold a whole bunch of stock, and so that caused it to drop even further. Very shortly after that, Goldman Sachs came in with a buy, right? JP Morgan came in with an overweight. BMO came in with an outperform. They all set price targets at 75. And I would trust these analysts before I would trust the CEO's tax bill any day.
Well, that definitely sounds like there's some analyst support for a future in the sector, even though that infrastructure isn't built yet and is still in process of being built. This is really kind of a part of that overall process of building out the AI infrastructure. That's because so much of this magnet dirt that you've been talking about is involved in so many different areas of technology. There's a lot of different stocks that we can look at in this AI infrastructure build out. If you're looking for other AI infrastructure plays, make sure to check out our latest premium article that has 5 ETFs that are all focused on the AI and energy infrastructure sector. You can scan the QR code or click the link to get that free list now and kind of explore a different way of investing in the AI infrastructure build out. All right, Jeffrey, let's get back to your list of rare earth stocks. That MP chart, though, is so difficult to look at because it had such a sudden drop. But even with how much of a drop that one has had, the next stock on your list might be even harder to look at.
So the next stock on our list is going to be USA Rare Earth, and it has suffered quite a bit. It actually kind of looks like a falling knife, but the simple fact of the matter is that they're sitting on a mountain of cash. They have like $400 million in cash. They have no debt, and in the junior mining world, that's like the king position. And speaking of king position, they recently went to the United Kingdom and they bought less common metals, right? And so that's like buying a pre-built engine for your car because they need the inputs to make the magnets, but they don't have those inputs, right? So they just bought the company that has the input. And so they're going to start getting the inputs from that. In the first quarter of next year, their mine or their refinery is due to go online. And when that happens, they've got mines, they got magnets, they're making magnets. I mean,
Let's talk about the risk that could still be there. I think you made a really strong case for USAR, but looking at that chart, it's been painful for investors. And I do want to talk about those geopolitical issues that are still present. They still exist. They didn't just go away. So, is there still a risk, even getting in this low for investors? What should they consider?
there are a lot of risks to this stock and any stock, but they have done quite a bit to mitigate that risk. The company has sold the bulk of their warrants. So you have basically until the end of the year, if you have a warrant, you can either exercise the warrant and turn it into cash, or you can sell it, right? And have somebody else turn it into cash. With that money, they have brought their balance sheet down to like zero basically. So they have no significant debt. They have a treasure trove of cash. They have a $400 million. They have I think $400 million in cash. And that cash is being burnt at a very low burn rate, which at the current burn rate gives them about a year's runway before they have to do anything like dilute the stock or anything like that. They bought less common metals, which speeds up their go to market strategy. It's kind of like a leapfrog situation. And in the meantime, they still have their still water magnet plant coming online. And that's actually supposed to be coming online like before the end of the year, definitely Q1 of next year. And so once all that comes online, you've got a zero debt company that has a fairly unlimited supply of magnet dirt, has a brand new refinery to run, has a pile of cash in the bank, and has a really slow burn rate for that cash.
Yeah, a lot of great points there, Jeffrey. The last one for USAR before we move on to the final mining stock to talk about here. I want to talk about what analysts are saying because there's not a lot of coverage by analysts on this stock, but even the lowest price target is still well above where the stock is trading today.
So the lowest price target's 16, but the consensus is 26. And at current trading levels, those are both beautiful, beautiful price targets. The 26 is almost or is more than a 100% upside.
Yeah, really good point about the analyst ratings. I think it's important to think consider that when you're looking at the ratings on all three of the stocks that we're talking about here, because there's just been so many geopolitical changes as we've talked about with these stocks that are really impacting that price movement. Let's get to the third and final rare earth stock that you are watching right now, Jeffrey.
So the third and final one that I'm watching is critical metals, and I call that the contrarian bet because they recently had a short report come out, and the stock got crushed and it dropped down to like $7. Critical metals in general, the strategy that they're pulling off, where instead of just the magnet dirt to make high intensity magnets for cars and all the other stuff, they're specifically going after military grade magnets. And that's a whole different ballgame. And that's what makes them a fantastic contrarian play because so far, despite the short report, they seem to be pulling it off.
This is an interesting one. It sounds like potentially the more speculative of the three plays. I think looking at the chart on this one, it looks like such a crazy story. I know it's very similar to the last two that we've seen, but from October 1st to now almost December 1st, the stock is back to the same price. It was just about under $7. Up to $30 in the span of 2 months, and then all the way back down to $7 again. Again, in just a 2 month window. That's such a quick move for these stocks. Any thoughts for investors who maybe bought somewhere in that 2 month period when it was going up or falling down?
I'm not going to lie. I'm in all three of these stocks plus several other critical metal stocks. I bought from the bottom and I bought all the way up into the top. When it comes down to it, right? If you bought at 40 and you believed in the thesis at 40, you're going to believe in the thesis now. And that just gives you the ultimate opportunity to average down.
Some good advice for investors, and nice to know you're in the same boat too. You're not alone out there if you've been on the rare earth story and it's burned you. If you still believe in it, there could be a future for these stocks too. You made a really good case for that, Jeffrey. As far as which one to add to Bridget's buys, my paper trading watch list, I think it's a hard debate. The more speculative one that you ended with is interesting. MP is one I've been watching for a few days now, thinking that this one has some strong potential. Again, just the factors that it's a solid company. It has the government support, but I'm actually going to go with USAR. I think you made a really good case for the factory coming online just in the next few months. The timing of that is interesting. I also think that this one has pulled back far enough that there is more room to grow potentially for the stock in the right conditions. So that's the one that I'm going to choose to add to the watch list. We'll see where it goes. What do you think of USAR as my pick, Jeffrey?
I'm invested in all of these. I love that you picked that one. That one is actually my favorite as well, and that one is the one that I'm trying to average down the most in. They have all their ducks in a row, and they just keep pushing forward with their strategy. By the end of the first quarter of next year, when they get that refinery online, then they're gonna be rocking and rolling, and this changes from a speculative, "Can they do it?" to a wild and crazy ride. We've done it. We've got a magnet to or a mine to magnet producer in the United States, and with that promise coming, that definitely makes it a really great play for your list.
All right, Jeffrey, thanks again. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you staying away from rare earths? Have you been scared off by some of the losses? Understandable, of course. Or are you interested in the future and think that there is still a future here for this sector? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks again for watching, everyone. As always, happy investing.